Hello there. In the previous video, we built an application that fetches the to-dos from an endpoint and shows the total number of them. But in this video, I want to show you a different approach. As you remember, we used this app state type to model our application, and it has items in it, and it has error message, and it has is busy state, but we can do it slightly differently. So let me create a new file. Let's call it app2.res. So now instead of the record type for our state, we could use a sum type like so and define all the states that our application can be in. Now our initial state will be idle, and I'm going to rewrite our actions a bit. So before we had set busy, set item, set error, so very imperative names. But now we define sort of like transitions between the different states. So start loading, receive items, and errored. And our reducer function will look a bit differently too. It still takes state and actions. However, this time around, we specify how we transition towards state. In our React component, we can still use the useReducer hook. So the biggest difference now is how we render our state. Our state is defined as a sum type, so we can pattern match on that. And in case our application is idle, we're just going to render a button with fetch to-dos label on it. When the application is loading the data, we're going to render the loading indicator. If we hit the error, we're just going to render the error string. And finally, when our application is ready and we've got some items to show, we can display how many items we've got to show. And as a bonus, we can also render the reload button. We already have a click handler for our buttons, so I'm just going to bring it in and add an on-click handler for our buttons. I should also mention that we dispatch different actions, of course, because in this module actions are defined differently. So now the only thing that is left to do is to use a different module, start the application, and open it in a browser. So now we have our trusty fetch to-dos button, and if I click on it, we have a loading state, and we've got the 200 items to show. Wonderful. So now, as you can see, building a state machine in Rescript is very easy, and it works really well with the reducer pattern. But we can take it one step further. What if we want to add a sense of directionality to our reducer function? For that, we can pattern match on the tuple, so state and action. And let me just rename this variable over here. So now the compiler says that our pattern is incorrect here, and to fix that, we should define the tuple over here. So we transition from idle via start loading to in progress. So here we transition from in progress to received items. In here we transition from in progress to errored. And the beautiful thing about pattern matching is that it's exhaustive, so therefore the compiler will tell us what kind of variants we haven't thought about. And there are different ways to handle this situation, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to say that in all other cases, we're going to show an error message. A few words about tuples. They are also the record types, and in comparison with arrays or lists, for example, they can contain many different types. So in this example, we have an integer and a string. In our example, we had state and action. And again, the compiler is smart enough to figure out all the types, and now we can be sure that our reducer function returns the app state in all the cases. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.